Lock and Load podcast is sponsored by Lock and Load Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock and Load Firearms.
Lock and Load podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.
Welcome to Lock and Load podcast. My name is Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're here to talk to you today about Connecticut 2A issues. Specifically, we're talking about the upcoming elections and the potential consequences of those elections. So today, Michelle's taking the podcast by the reins, and we're going to go through Michelle's list.
Hi, guys. Okay, so we're now in the middle of, we're in the deep efforts of the campaigns, okay? And so a lot of people need to start paying attention. Regular voters need to pay attention.
To be clear, this is Connecticut.
Yes.
Just Connecticut, guys.
Yes, because we don't have a say in anything else right now except for the presidential that's coming up. But as far as any other Congress, that kind of stuff, we have only Connecticut that we can control. We're going to go into more. This podcast is more about your Connecticut legislators. So that's your House of Reps and your senators and their districts.
Let's run down really quick on how laws go through. We're going to go do a Civics 101 lesson here in Connecticut. So you elect officials, you will be in November, to Hartford to make laws, make budgets, and make outrageous taxes. You, as a person, elect a House of Representative and a state senator.
Correct. Every town is a district to have one of each.
Yep, correct.
Or every address, I should say, because some towns have more.
So you vote for a rep, you vote for a senator. Now, just like in Washington, the bill has to be formed in one of the houses. It first gets formed in a committee, passes the committee, and goes to one of the houses, typically the House first. Not always. It passes the House, it passes the Senate, and then it goes to good old King Ned's desk, where he can either sign it into law or veto it. I believe if he vetoes it, it can go back to the House. I think you follow the same process.
For amendments.
3/4 from the House, and then 2/3 from the Senate, I believe, is the overturning number. Could be off by that. And then the Senate could force a bill, or the legislative body could force a bill through without the executive power signing the bill into law. Now, obviously, that probably doesn't happen here much in Connecticut, especially because the left side of the political aisle has the House, the Senate, and the governorship.
And even when we've been close, it's never had enough to force anything through.
But it's been able to stop things.
Yes. And, for me personally, having it close, I think helps some things because it makes people have to look at all the issues, not just force that party's agenda through.
And negotiate because they can hold up other bills.
Correct. It always, closer, the closer it is, the better. When you have a super majority, then one party always can do whatever they want. Now, I have my party, as I'm sure some of you have your party, and you'd like to see your stuff go through, but I do think it's a more constitutional way of doing it if they have to look at all sides and how it affects all citizens. I mean, these people are elected in there to represent the citizens that voted them in. Unfortunately, in this state, we are behind the 8 ball.
For gun rights.
Yes, well, for gun rights. Well, a lot of other things, too. We got taxes, we got other stuff.
Something I want to bring up to you guys, and this does look like it is up right now, at least part of it. CCDL, every legislative session, legislative election does a candidate rating. So if you go to ccdl.us, click on resources, click on candidate ratings. Some of them are up there right now. They give them a total of 4 ratings. CCDL endorsed. That means they voted 100% with CCDL at every vote. Pro 2A can indicate they might not have a voting record, but they scored high enough on their questionnaires, or they have a voting record with a majority of the time siding with CCDO. Unreliable is they didn't answer the questionnaire or didn't score high enough, or their voting records, 50-50. Anti-2A is, I don't know, that's pretty self-explanatory on that one. And unknown is actually, when they haven't answered the questions. And there's no public statements out there from them to gather enough information.
Usually that's a rookie, somebody who's brandy new into politics. So they have no town politics that they can base anything on. They have no voting record anywhere, because this is looked at all the way down to your local town, which a lot of people don't understand. These people running for our state and representative, our senator and representative spots, usually start off at Board of Eds, Board of Zoning. They start off at selectmen, and they move their way up. So that's why it's very important for locals also to be voted in.
Yep. So their list is still being compiled a little bit, and I'm talking there's maybe like 25 names on the website at this very moment when we're filming this. I'm sure there will be more after that. There will be more after that. And you can go and check that. If you don't know what district you live in, there's a little link to the Connecticut General Assembly on there as well, where you punch in your town and your street address, and you can find what district you live in as well. So why don't we start off with one of that top candidate there, the super duper.
Yay.
We have to be nice, I guess. So that's all I got for that is super duper.
In so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first person we're going to talk about is Liz Linehan in District 103. She is in the House of Representatives. She covers the towns of Cheshire, Hamden, and Wallingford. It may not be all of those towns, but portions or all, depending on where you live and, how big her district is. This is a woman who is a Democrat, and her agenda and her policies are definitely anti-2A. She has posted extremely inappropriate posts on Facebook. It just goes to show who her character is and what kind of a person she is. She has a good following, though.
More importantly, I just did the math here. I'm looking this up while Michelle was talking. Liz only won by 120 votes. Mm-hmm. That's it. 120 votes makes a difference. We're going to talk about some other districts that are much slimmer margins. But 128 votes put her into office in 2016.
And that's not a lot of...
She's had very close races.
She needs to have somebody... I don't know. Last time I had heard she was still running unopposed. I don't know if somebody has stepped up. I haven't done that kind of research on her. But these are the districts we really need to pay attention to. I've highlighted 3. I know there's several. So, but this for this podcast purposes, there are 3 that I really want to highlight. She is one. And if there is somebody running against her, please get involved. Please help that candidate. We'll get into that whole aspect too after I go through the 3 districts. The second district I want to discuss is Kenneth Gucker. He was, I believe, a Danbury House of Rep. He was in the 138th district. He lost last election cycle by 26 votes. So our Republican, the Republican candidate that ran, beat him by 26 votes. So again, we're talking very small margins. He's another one where he is in a lot of hot water right now because of a meme he put up regarding the assassination attempt on Trump. So I'm not going to go into that, but I am going to tell you if you're interested. His name is Kenneth Gucker. He has been all over. He has apologized.
His Facebook official page is Kenneth Gucker, State Representative -138th.
Right. I think his post, though, was on Ken Gucker, which is his personal.
It was on that one.
Okay.
You can find it if you Google very quickly. It is on Twitter as well.
It's one of those where, again, it shows the character of the people that are running to make decisions for Connecticut residents. This is very, very important. Okay. To me, in general, if you are in a position to be in our House in reps or our senators, so if you're in our legislative body, you should actually have a little bit of discretion as to what you post on your personal Facebook pages. It's sort of like a job. Some people really scour those things. Apparently our Connecticut legislators don't get scoured as much. He is not a sitting representative at the moment. Liz Linehan is, however. And they should be held to a certain standard. And the only way they can be held to this standard is if we get involved and if we make an uproar about it. And I'm not talking about, going nuts, doing anything harmful. I'm talking about making phone calls. I am talking about complaining. I am talking about working to get them out of office when opportunities happen, like what's going to happen in November. All right? So the representative in Danbury only won by 26 votes, which means we need to get her more support. We need to get behind her to make sure that someone like Gucker does not get back in. And then my third one is
right where the store sits in the 81st district.
Yes.
So where we're filming this podcast right now, guys, that is the 81st district. Now it covers a majority of Southington, only Southington, but not all of Southington. Southington gets scooped up by part of Plainville and part of Berlin as well for the House. But the 81st district, the majority of Southington, was won by Chris Poulos by one single vote.
That's a very small margin.
Very small, after 2 recounts. And he was running 2 years ago against Tony Morrison. Tony's now been elected onto the town council. He was on, I think, Board of Finance prior to that. And he lost by one single vote.
So who is running against him this election?
So this election is Jim Morelli, if I'm saying his last name correctly. I actually spoke to Jim on Monday. He stopped in the store. We talked about some, gun issues. And he is also elected on the town council. I believe this is his second term on town council. Okay. So he's been elected twice. He got the third most votes in the Southington town council race.
Okay.
Southington town council is set up where we have to have if we have a super majority, it's a maximum of 6 of one party and a minimum of 3 of the other party. So he won third place in the 9 overall spots.
Okay.
And so he won. You got more than Tony. Tony came, I believe, in 6th place on that, or I think he came in 5th.
So if you have that many people on your town council that are
9.
that side, but you have 6.
Yeah, we have a super majority in Southington. It's a 6-3.
There's no reason why we should have a Dem here.
Correct.
So we need to get more people involved here.
We need to get the CCDL, the gun vote, out there. You need to be involved in your community. You need to vote. That is the most important thing, guys, is vote.
And on that note, I want to add, there's been several people posting. Guns and Gadgets, Jared from Guns and Gadgets made a big post about this, and it's also come out from different areas that I've been watching. In Connecticut, and I don't know how they're getting these numbers, I will be totally honest with you, but in Connecticut, there are over 60,000 gun owners who are not registered to vote. That doesn't count. It just doesn't even include the gun owners who don't go vote. But 60,000 that are not registered.
That's insane, guys.
Those kinds of numbers can change this state. And I know people are frustrated. Trust me, I know. I'm with you.
You need to get out and vote.
But we have to continue. I mean, if we just give up, we're going to get worse and worse and worse. We see every year more and more bites out of our rights, out of our pockets. Everything, our life, our lifestyles here in Connecticut are hurting. You need to talk to your friends. You need to get people to sign up. I have signed up or registered, gotten 4 people to register over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Doesn't sound like a lot of numbers, but that's 4 people that were not registered.
What if they were in Southington? That flips that entire district.
Correct. And you got to, we got to just track all this stuff, but we also have to keep in mind they have to be registered within a certain time frame before the election. All right?
Yeah.
So you really need to get them. I don't know what the exact deadline is.
I think it's weeks before, but you shouldn't wait.
No, I would say by the end of August. So give it a month and a half and get your bullhorn out. Talk to family, talk to friends, talk to everyone you know. They can register any way they want. They can vote any way they want. At the end of the day, that's what's great about this country. But we need people to be registered. And if there's gun owners that are registering to have people take away their rights and take away their guns, that's a whole different conversation we need to be having. And keep that in mind with your friends. I've done it. I don't know if you've done it. I've had several people that were like, no, I vote Democrat. I'm like, really? Because you're buying a gun. So you're buying a gun so they can take it away from you.
Objectively speaking, and I'm going to go with HB 6667. I'm going to bring up 2 examples here. To be very clear, in the 81st District, again, it's where I am. Chris Poulos voted yes for HB 6667. That was the 2023 assault weapons ban.
After conversations with you, lots.
After I went up to the Capitol building with CCDL, we had a 2A Tuesday that Ray put on. I went both weeks they did it. The first week I made an appointment with Chris. I spoke to Chris. I followed up in at least 2 to 3 emails with Chris, giving a pretty interesting view on things because, obviously I own a store. I'm an instructor and I'm a regular gun owner. So I can look at something at 3 different ways and see how this can hurt or help. And his excuse when called out on why he voted yes, this is on Facebook. I asked him, and his excuse was, well, I negotiated to get things out of the bill and I couldn't go back on my word. No, because, and I followed up that comment. It's still on his page. Well, what about the other senators? What about, State Senator Rob Sampson, who tries to get things out of the bill? And then he still votes no on the bill because the bill's still bad.
Correct.
Is that going back on somebody's word? No, you're voting against the overall bill. Great, you got things out, maybe. Junior, first year, state senator. Did you get anything out? Michelle doesn't think so. Or did you just pass it up the line? Did you do that too?
Did you nod your head and go, okay, yeah, that might be okay.
Yeah, and I was not the only one there, by the way. I set up that one-on-one meeting, and it turned into an 8-on-1 meeting. I got ambushed with other people from Southington specifically. And, there were some people that, Chris knew. The Southington Sportsman off Mount Vernon.
Yep.
They took him to their club. He shot an actual AR there too. And talked to him and answered questions and all this stuff. It was a private meeting. And he still voted for this bill.
We used to do, when we would do legislator days and take legislators to the range with CCDL, we would have quite a few Democrats show up. Yep. And every single time they would show up, they would shoot, they would tell us they had a great time, and then go back to the drawing board and vote against us every time.
He hurt the Southington small business, and I call him out on that every time I can, professionally, of course.
Well, that bill hit gun owners, gun stores, and instructors. It hit all. That
and
bill
students
encompassed
taking
everything.
classes.
Yep.
That's a whole other topic right now. But going with the specific Democrat tagline, there were 7 Republicans that voted yes for that bill and 5 Democrats who voted no for that bill. So it's not a perfect down the party line, very close. But But there was that deviation on the HB 6667, so just to be clear on that. I don't know what specific houses, districts those were from, or it was not any senators that voted against the bill. That was a Dem. There was a Republican that voted for it, though. Out of Newtown.
Tong.
No,
not Tong.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Tong is the Attorney General.
No, I know.
I'm sure he would have if he was still in the Senate.
I know he's close. It's similar. Sorry.
So, your votes matter. Anyone that doesn't say your vote doesn't matter, or you actually believe that, you're false. Your vote matters. One vote.
Yep.
2 votes flips an entire district.
Well, and we've had East Haven that's off by 10 votes, and I can't remember who those 2 people were. I didn't do that kind of research yet. We've had a lot of very close districts, and literally less than 20, many less than 10 votes. And yet we have people that are not registered. And I want you to understand, I'm not the type of person where, I'm like, oh, all Dems are terrible. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, keep in mind, if you are a Dem, you're voting against your rights. You may have other things that mean something, and I can understand that. But as a gun owner, that's where I have a harder time understanding it.
That state senator we're talking about was Tony Wang.
Yes.
So he's from Newtown, Bethel, Easton, and Fairfield.
Yes. I would love to see somebody primary him.
I think we're past that point, unfortunately.
No, we are for this election, yes, but that's what I wait for.
So I'm going to put a QR code up on the screen in this video. So if you see it already, that is how you can go and register to vote. And then in our link tree, which is linked in all of our descriptions, we're also going to put that link in there as well, to make it easier for people, right? Simple is easy.
Yes, and you can do it right on your phone, and it goes right in. You register. It's like super easy. The other thing I wanted to bring up, now that we've moved past how many people are not registered and need to be registered, is Rob Sampson. Okay, he's one of our champions, guys. We all know this.
He was in a video a couple months ago. If you go on to wherever you're watching this and look up, us and State Senator Rob Sampson, you can go back to that video. That was pre the legislative session this year. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and he is a rock star for us and for gun rights and the Constitution in general. Every single year, he gets a lot of flack for it. Mm-hmm. He gets a lot of hate mail for it, but he believes in the Constitution, and he'll tell you straight up, even if he doesn't agree with something being proposed, if it's not constitutional, he doesn't
vote for it.
Or if he does agree with something, he won't vote for it if it's not constitutional. He follows the Constitution, and he's phenomenal.
So he's in Southington,
yes.
Part of Wolcott, part of Prospect, part of Cheshire, I believe.
Yes.
And part of Waterbury.
He's got a big district.
East end of Waterbury, yeah.
He's got a big district.
He's the 16th Senate District.
He has hit his funding limit, so he is good.
But he needs volunteers.
Yes. So that's the next step into this. During this time period, these candidates that are in your district, if it's someone that is like-minded with you, you'd like to see them up in Hartford so that they're making laws that benefit you versus taking away your rights, you need to help them out. They don't always need money.
Yeah, Ray Beavis, the former CCDL legislative coordinator, I know you know that. They might not know that. I remember him saying, and I don't remember the exact quote, but giving 2 hours of volunteer time equates to X amount of votes statistically in their favor.
It's huge.
And it's a large chunk. And, these districts are won by literally a vote or a couple hundred votes or, dozens of votes. Mm-hmm. They make a difference, guys. I talked to Rob on Monday or Tuesday this week on the phone. And I went to his website prior to that, a day before, because I was going to go and donate to Rob. Didn't realize he met his funding already.
Yep.
And then signed up to go and volunteer. And I was like, if you need something, let me know. If I can do it, I'll do it. I signed up and I told Jim Morelli, running in the 81st district, the same thing. I actually was the second person to offer my help to him.
Well, and people don't understand. You bring a friend and it becomes just an afternoon together. And it's not hard. Sometimes it's just stuffing envelopes. You can take that stuff home and do it while you watch TV. Other stuff is you're dropping off signs in people's yards who have requested it. It's not like you're just dropping them off randomly. There's all kinds of stuff. You can donate an hour. You can donate, if you're retired or you're stay at home and you've got more time and your kids are in school.
Actually, the first time that I really talked to Rob, his volunteer coordinator for that year, her name's Sue, and she took my pistol permit class. It was during the COVID times. And then she hit me up. She's like, hey, will you volunteer, for 2 hours at the polls? Mm-hmm. So I start outside, DePaulo Middle School. That's also where I vote. Mm-hmm. And, was there with another volunteer, and, just held the sign. Hey, how you doing? 2 hours, nothing big. It's something simple like that.
I've worked on campaigns to the point where I've been like in the midst of the middle of them and spent almost like full-time jobs. And then I've worked on campaigns where it was just hit or miss whenever I could. Yeah. I've made phone calls. Some people are comfortable with that. Some people are not. So there is so much to do, whether you like the person-to-person contact or you kind of want to be behind the scenes. There is stuff for everybody, and we say this all the time, and every district is still always looking for help, especially our Republican districts, because they don't know what it, us as regular people don't know what it takes to go volunteer. I didn't know. So the way I got involved in all this was, again, I was part of CCDL, but I had a friend that said, hey, I'm going to go volunteer. And to tell you the truth, I can't remember who it was for right now. They were like, we're going to go volunteer. You want to come help? And I was like, I don't know. What does that mean? Yeah. And they were like, just come along. It's fun. We're going to get pizza. We're going to have a good time. And I had a ball, and then it just snowballed from there. This is very important. I can't say it again. 60,000 people are unregistered. If we could get even 10,000 of those people, it's a difference. And if we can help the campaigns more, that's a huge difference. Money is money, and they all need money to do their campaigns, to pay for signs. But at the end of the day, it's also hands and bodies. They need people. So keep that in mind.
If you're in the 81st district, Jim Morelli does still need his funds. Once they hit a certain number, they unlock state-issued funds.
Yes.
So they need to get to that level.
Okay.
At least at the time of this filming or the beginning of this week, that was still the case.
There's probably a few of them out there that are still in that position. It's some of the newer candidates coming in usually have a harder time because they don't have the track record. Yeah. So they do have a harder time coming up with it, but you want them to get to that state funding. You want them to get a little bit of help to come back. And we want to back these guys. We want to stop some of this hemorrhaging that's going on with our rights in this state, especially our gun rights. I mean, if people go, well, what more can they take? We don't need to challenge people. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's not a hold my beer. Watch what I got to do. Please no.
So, wrapping this up, in the upcoming weeks, we're going to have on some interesting special guests.
Yes.
So following this video, depending on when you're watching this, there should be some, I think I'm going to stick with interesting as the word without giving too much away yet.
We're going to have some candidates.
Yeah, some candidates on the podcast. Again, mainly focusing on the 2A issues because that's the, concept behind our podcast. Now, supporting us, like the video, comment on the video, ask us questions. Follow us in the link trees. Follow Patriot Rare Holsters, Lock and Load Firearms. Buy some holsters, buy some guns, buy some ammo, buy some lights, Michelle's carrying lights now, many more than I do.
Streamlight, Surefire, and Nightstick, guys, and I can get pretty much anything else.
Still no O lights.
I'm not doing O lights, guys. You're out of luck. Not doing it.
And that's all in our link tree as well, guys. So, help us out that way. We make $0 doing this podcast. This podcast costs us money.
Time and money.
Time especially, but money as well.
I have an order back at my shop that I'm not doing because I'm here.
I'm just talking about how much equipment costs.
That too.
And that stuff. I wasn't even thinking that. So, and share this to your friends, guys. Get more people onto the channel. Or tell them about it, however you watch us, whether you watch us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Tell them about it. Share, share to your socials. That helps. There's those easy little share buttons. You click it, click Facebook, and post it. There you go. Yep. There's a ton of other videos in the past, guys. Go and watch those too. State Senator Rob Sampson was on one of them. Attorney Greg Miller was on one of them. We did a huge roundtable discussion with some other instructors. That was pretty cool. And a ton of other guests on there. We're now jumping back into the podcast ritual here.
We had taken a little bit of a break, and we apologize. We've just been
on vacation.
Crazy.
Then, some things happened. Mm-hmm. But we're back now. So, any closing thoughts here?
No, I hope with everything I've got that this podcast will get out to some people, and we'll get people that and get involved for the first time. And if you do sign up and get involved, please leave us a comment because I would love to hear that this helped. And if you have any questions about how, or what it's like, feel free to always reach out to me. You can call me at Patriot, where it's 203-200-9043. And I'm happy to talk to you about this stuff too.
Yeah. Stop down in the store, 10 to 6, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 3. Just make sure either I'm here or probably Brian, my manager, can help you out too. At least, getting the information. And if you don't know where to start, you don't know what your candidates are, who they are. The CCDL page, once that gets updated, it's going to be a really good spot for that. Mm-hmm. And then that little lookup to know who your candidates are. And if, you're not good with computers, or you're watching, I don't know, you probably have to be watching this on a computer or your phone. But, maybe you're not super great with them. Stop down at the store. We'll help you. Because
you can also go to ct.gov and look under legislature. It will do the lookup for you there also. Yeah. There are ways.
It's linked in CCDL's website as well, too.
Okay.
So, all right. My name's Josh.
I'm Michele.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.